Hello everyone. If you watch one of my last few videos, you may come to realize that I am the best Pokemon player. And what would the best Pokemon player do? That's right, a nuzlocke. So naturally, I decided I should do a nuzlocke. But that wasn't enough for me. I had to find out what the hardest Pokemon game to nuzlocke was. On a surface level of digging, you can arrive at the conclusion that it's probably either Pokemon Platinum or Pokemon Emerald. But that's just the surface level. I went 2 more Google searches deep and found that the game that served as a worthy challenge for me, the best Pokemon player, was dun dun dun, Pokemon Emerald Kaizo. It went horribly. I failed on the first gym. Just like in the normal Pokemon Emerald, we start the game with setting our clock, and don't pay attention to what time it is, I'm a bit of a night owl. And then I barge into my neighbor's room and start going through their things. Now there's an old man getting attacked by a raccoon, so I take the best animal in his bag and defeat the raccoon that scared me a little bit when it fully restored its health. And with that over with, I talk to the nice man over here who gives you a potion, and this guy who shouldn't be here. But I appreciate his gift anyways. And now for the first rival battle. Seeing speed boost was pretty scary, but luckily it didn't matter. Skill gap, to be honest. Isn't this game too easy? Now I put some zip in my step with the running shoes and catch my first Pokemon and name it Squirmy, and a Wingull I named Cheese Puff because I wanted to see if it would fit, before getting some Pokeballs on an absolutely insane clearance sale. Spent way too much time trying to catch a Vulpix I named Flan. Ponyo, 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 fishy in the sea. I couldn't really think of a fun name for Electrike, so Doug. On my way to Petalburg City, Squirmy evolved, and the team had some smooth sailing with Flan carrying, especially against the bug catchers. Inside of Petalburg City, I ran into a Squirtle who just won't get in the ball. Finally. Wally, did you really need me here? Oh, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I should probably go to sleep for the night. I think so far the squad's looking pretty good. We have Doug, Ponyo, Flan, the goat, Cheese Puff, Squirmy, and Mono, with Shell in the back just raring to go. Honestly, I personally think we're already prepared to take on the champion, but I think we should probably do just a little bit more prep just to make sure. Well, I'm back to playing, and the first thing that happens is this dude calling me bad. I'll prove him wrong. Caught a pig, named him Pancake. Pretty cool. Squirmy, 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 Squirmy. Doug really killed it on the route outside of Petalburg City. And in Petalburg Forest, I was able to catch a Teddiursa I named Oats. And now I'll tell you exactly what makes this game so hard. You have to fight every single trainer without exception. Every single trainer has a competitive moveset, and if you get just a bit too cocky, this can happen. Yeah, this was the beginning of a long downward spiral of events. Finally, Doug and a few others cleaned up this cult member. I saved this guy and deposited Ponyo into the death box. A sad loss. I really liked the name I gave her. Oh, this is like super scary. Oh, why is it? What? Please, everyone, give your salutes to Cheese Puff. Thank you, Fawn, for cleaning up after that whole mess. Oh, this is my favorite Pokemon from Generation 3. Still can't compare to Poliwag, though. I think Fruit is a good name for the little guy. This is alright, I guess. You don't get a real name. Oh no. Doug, why did I even have him out? As you can see, things have been kind of falling apart, but on the upside, Mono evolved, and for the upcoming Rock-type gym battle, I threw Shell onto the team as well, but that was only like putting a band-aid on the biggest issue, and that is that I'm not good at the game. And that's it. I only had 4 Pokemon going to the first gym leader, and the part that hurt the worst was that it was all my fault. For a while I was thinking, what could I have done differently? Maybe if I had taught Mono Vine Whip, then he wouldn't have died there. Or maybe if I hadn't let Pancake die, I could have had a free switch to do something? But hindsight is 2020. I thought this video was a dud right then and there. But then, after a little bit of wallowing in misery, I figured, why should I end it there? Maybe I should finish the game and put in the work to get better at Pokemon. So I hope you all stick around to the end, and maybe one day I'll come back for my revenge nuzlocke on this game. But until then, sit back and buckle in for my first playthrough of Pokemon Emerald Kaizo. At this point, I've resolved myself to get gooder, if you will, so I can't exactly overlevel my Pokemon so that it becomes an easy sweep. I need a legitimate strategy to get around this Cradily. So I pulled up Roxanne's team and specifically Lileep's weaknesses. The first part of my plan was to catch a Makuhita, but before I could do that, I found a Ralts who I caught and named Friend. Now back on track, I was able to find and catch a Makuhita who I named Baki and leveled him up to 16, which I have decided to be the level cap for this gym, which meant I couldn't use Shell or Fruit because I had previously overleveled a bit. Now I had a strategy and it was not the most reliable, mostly relying on berries and luck, but it did work. But as luck would have it, once I finished with this scheme I cooked up for the gym leader, I looked back at OBS and, get this, my recording completely froze at some point. Most people at this point would have just given up showing this battle, but oh no, not me. I've taken it upon myself to draw the play-by-play of this battle. Roxanne starts out with her nose pass, and I start with... Bug? Let me explain. Roxanne's entire team has some sort of berry that makes defeating them a little bit more difficult by healing health or getting rid of status effects, and her nose pass was a big hurdle because he has self-destruct, so he could basically just stall to maybe get a kill, and once the AI sees that there's no chance for a kill, it will hit self-destruct, which completely annihilates everything on my team. Now, the reason I chose Bug here was because he happened to know a little move called Knockoff, which would get rid of the enemy's item and give me a chance at beating nose pass without it self-destructing, or if it did self-destruct, all I lost was Bug for the battle. The battle went a little something like this. Bug and Nosepass are staring each other down. Bug goes for the knockoff, but uh-oh, what does Nosepass do? He uses Thunder Wave. But what's this? I predicted that. Bug is holding a Cherry Berry to heal paralysis. Nosepass goes in for a Seismic Toss. Bug tanks it, but that's not all. Effect Spore activates. Too bad, so sad, Nosepass is asleep now. I think usually the AI would switch its Pokemon here, but my theory is that it started spamming self-destruct in hopes that it would wake up. That's one Pokemon down. Next she sends out Anorith, and looking at its moveset, it had two options. Rock Slide and Aerial Ace. I chose to predict the Rock Slide by switching into Mono, who I knew could tank it. Now what would she use? That's right, Aerial Ace, so I switch into Cheese Puff, who takes the hit and hits back pretty hard, but unfortunately couldn't take him down. But that was within my calculations. You see, I knew that in all likeliness Cheese Puff wasn't going to one-shot him, but what it did do was put him into kill range for Squirmy's Silver Wind, which if you don't know gives you a chance at boosting all your stats when you use the move. This was a risky strategy. I had two chances to get the stat boost, one when I beat the Anorith and one for when the Lileep comes out. The first one doesn't do it. Now, I'm completely expecting to white out at this point. I'm down a few good members and I know Squirmy won't last long. Second hit. All stats up. Lileep in yellow, Cradily uses Ancient Power, a 4 times effective move against Squirmy, with the same ability as Silver Wind. Squirmy survives on 7 HP, Lileep faints. At this point, I'm cheering for Squirmy. He has my heart by the strings, but I know he won't last much longer in this fight. So Roxanne sends out Shuckle. Now I have two reasonable options here. Silver Wind to do a little bit of damage, or Mega Drain and maybe see what happens. Who knows, hopefully he misses a move or something. But for better or for worse, I chose the third option, Poison Sting, and Squirmy sends himself off with a bang by poisoning Shuckle. Next, it's Ponyo's turn. Now, even with Shuckle poison, this could still be tough because I have nothing to reliably stall him out with, but what I did have was Supersonic and Water Pulse. Turn 1, Supersonic hits, confusing Shuckle. Shuckle hits himself in confusion. The next 2 turns in a row, Shuckle hits himself, and as soon as he snaps out of it, Ponyo uses Water Pulse, confusing him again. This time though, Shuckle uses Curse, which honestly wasn't that big of a deal. He fainted because of the poison after that anyway. Now it's a 3v2 in my favor. Roxanne sends out Relicanth and I simply laugh as I send out Mono, who quickly uses Absorb, almost defeating Relicanth and healing Mono at the same time. But this Relicanth was back with a vengeance. It barely survives, heals, and then hits Mono with Rock Slide. Okay, his vengeance didn't amount to much. Next it was Lunatone, which on paper doesn't seem too tough, but with what I had left it was certainly going to be difficult. First things first, I used Pursuit with Mono, and it deals a decent amount of damage, and I figured Mono could last long enough to hit 2 Pursuits. Critical hit Rock Slide. Mono is down. It's all up to Ponyo at this point because Baki will just get one shot by Confusion. Lunatone uses Confusion. Goldeen goes into yellow. Goldeen hits a Bubble Beam. Critical hit, I win. This had to have been one of the single luckiest Pokemon battles I have ever been a part of. There is literally no reason why this strategy should have worked. It was actually just get berries and try to predict what the AI would do. Needless to say, it was all skill. This was a pretty lucky fight for sure, but most people would watch this and think, but there are no stakes, it's not even a nuzlocke anymore. Well, actually, since I had a level cap, I couldn't gain any more levels. So any Pokemon that leveled up during that fight, I would have to put in the PC and go rebuild the team, and all that. So what was really at stake was my time, and that's more valuable than gold. My time is better spent helping this man who keeps getting the goods from his company stolen. Well, the journey through the next area was easy enough, but I was a little surprised when this girl popped up with all 3 of the Johto starters like I wouldn't noticed. And now it's time to fight a criminal. This fight was actually pretty easy. I was also clobbering people on Yu-Gi-Oh with my Karibo deck as I beat her. Oh, I forgot I was doing this. Alright friend, if you wanted to thank me, you can just stop letting criminals steal important packages. Caught a Cubone? Named him Romp. Cute. Hey ma'am, let's fight. Romp! You had every advantage. How did this happen? Yeah, Doug kind of had this fight in the bag. In order to catch the boat, I had to turn off my totally real Game Boy's totally existent speed up function because it's impossible to catch him running around if you don't. Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me, my lover stands on golden sands and watches the ships. Quit calling me, I'm sailing. Was this guy always here? Yeah, this will be the new saying, worship Squirmy. For the Brawly fight, I sort of had a strategy. I knew he would lead with a Hitmontop with Intimidate, so I got my own Pokemon with Intimidate to allow for a relatively safe switch into Pancake, who was able to handle the fight pretty well, but he wouldn't be able to handle any other Pokemon on his team. But I had an idea. You see, Hitmonchan knows Shadow Punch, which is super effective against Pancake, so I assumed that he would try to go for the one-hit kill and switched into Yon, the Snubbull, who takes no damage from Ghost-type moves. And then I switched back into Pancake, who took almost no damage from Mach Punch, and repeated that until Spoink died to a rather unfortunate critical hit. Man. So anyway, I threw Yon in there one more time, just in case, then threw Fruit in there, and played like losing this meant castration, until I decided this was taking way too long and switched into Ponyo to finish him off, which also took longer than I would have liked. Yeah, this is kind of an uphill battle for Ponyo. Ponyo fainted, so for my free switch I decided to throw Yon back out there for the attack lower, and then switch into Shell, who didn't finish the job? Oh well, the Taillow I caught named Duke came in to clean up. Next was Meditite, which I didn't really know what to do about, and sort of sacrificed Yon for no reason, because Duke just sort of one-shot Meditite. What? A Poliwrath, why hath God forsaken me by forcing me to face the paramount form of my beloved Poliwag? What? Well, now it's Hariyama, and there's no way Duke can one-shot him, so I had to switch back into Fruit and pray for the Effect Spore, and luckily with his dying breath, Fruit was able to... Oh. Well, I've lost. What's left of my team is nothing but a Taillow who will fall to any move my opponent might use. Yippee! If the Pokemon cartoon has taught me anything, it's that there are no bad Pokemon, only bad trainers. Or is that about dog owners? Whatever, I'll see you soon. Goodbye. Guys, I have a confession to make. That was like my 3rd try on the 2nd gym leader.